Hello again, folks. I gotta say, it's eerily quiet around here. The Mrs. Silk and the kids are out and about. It is raining outside, which is actually wonderful because we've been pretty dry lately. And so, what better time to come down here and play with some stamps? And as I was thinking about what project I wanted to undertake, I considered a few options. For starters, I thought about going up here to the top shelf to my box of random stamps that I really have no clue what's in there. But I'm actually thinking about doing a live stream stamp club sometime. If you're interested in joining me for a virtual stamp club, let me know in the comment section below. But I think that might be fun down the road. And so then I went down and I looked at the stock books in front of you. And what I realized is that one of these is completely empty. And that got me thinking. And then I looked over here and I saw this guy just hanging out. I'm not really sure where that guy came from, but it got me thinking. And so what I've decided to do is start a project that I've wanted to undertake for a very long time. I absolutely love Japanese stamps. I think the history is fascinating. I think they are beautiful. And I have a lot, but they're all over the place. And so today's video is going to be a little bit of a process video. I'm going to speak a little bit about how I collect stamps and then what my ultimate vision is as I go forward. So I'm going to start off by admitting that our house isn't the biggest. And so I don't have an office. I don't have a place to put all of my stamps. And that's led me to be a little creative. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to locate all of my Japanese stamps. And going to start here with this stock book. This is a collection of 60s and 70s mint never hinged. And so I'm going to start with these. I also know that in this very nice international album, there is a lot of Japanese stamps, so I'm going to go with that. But wait, there's more. I'm going to take you down here into the old cabinets. I know that a lot of you probably have cabinets. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I have a Japanese folder full of random stamps that I've gathered from here and there. Next up, this is one spot that I have squirreled away my collection of albums. There are my Minkus albums that Mrs. Silk doesn't hate the look of that, so that's good. I will go through especially these and bring them down to my table to find any Japanese stamps. And preview of upcoming attractions, I will do videos on my collection of German stamps, probably going through a similar process like today. And I think I've opened several of those on the channel too. So I will bring these down to the table, as well as some of these. Like I said, I've had to be a little creative in how to store my albums because, you know, not the biggest of all houses. If you ever wonder what I do with the albums that I open on the channel and that I've been opening for years, this is my process. I will and do save some in their condition that I get them. So like June's album, I'm not going to touch. That's just so precious to me. And there are others that, you know, are special, and so I won't pull stamps out of. Others, based on condition or, you know, that they already had stamps pulled, I don't feel quite so strongly about keeping them intact. And so when I embark on a project like this one, I will go through each of my books and I will find the ones that have Japanese stamps. or the country that I'm working on, like this one. And so since my goal is to get all of my Japanese stamps into one stock book, I am going to go ahead and take out these, even the ones that are more common. And as I do, I will be learning about Japanese stamps and the individual stamps that I'm pulling as I review the trusty stamp catalog. And so the next step in my process is going to be a rather long one, and it's enjoyable because it's just a flow experience where I am spending time with my stamps, and I'm going to go through all of my albums and track down the ones that have Japanese stamps. There are a lot of different ways to do this, and I could certainly soak the pages. That takes time, and with these, the hinges are coming off very easily. And so I'm going ahead and just taking them off with my tongs. You can also, if they are not coming off easily, you can cut them with a knife. Be very careful and slide your knife in behind if they are a certain kind of hinge. That's kind of your only option. And then you leave it, you can either soak off the hinge remnant yourself or just leave it knowing that it is possible to have it soaked off at some point. For example, this one did not come off very easily. And so I'm just going to leave it like that. To me, I know that hinge remnant can be soaked off at some point. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like that. But there are any number of different ways of going about this. For this particular album, the hinges are coming off pretty easily. So I'm just going ahead and doing this. So this was the one that had the mint blackjack in it. Therefore, I'm hopeful that it'll have some cool Japanese stamps too. I mean, look at that Chinese section. Look at that. That's so amazing to me. Very nice section. So let's see what the Japanese section holds. Great. This was just a great album altogether. Great collection. And that's the fun part about focusing on a country. You learn what ones are truly sought after and which ones are more common. I mean, look at that King Edward stamp from Kenya and Uganda. That's just gorgeous. All right, let's see. Oh, cool. Oh, it does have some cool ones. Older ones. I haven't seen that stamp yet, or that one. Oh, fantastic. All right, I'm going to be very careful removing these. And then the ones that I know and can tell, like that has an overprint on it. I wonder what that is. Oh, very cool. All right, so I'm going to set aside the ones that I know to be special, and I'll learn more down the road. Oh, I love this album so much. I'll put a link in the description below in case you haven't seen it yet. It was fun. Very cool. All right, the hardest part of the journey is done. It is all fun stuff from here. These were the Japanese stamps I pulled out of those various albums. I really do love these stamps, the nature scenes with the mountains. They're just beautiful. So I've gone through all of my albums and put them away because over the years I've learned Mrs. Silk appreciates it when I clean as I go. Oh, I don't want her questioning my hobbies, so I tend to listen. I do have a couple of things to figure out what to do with. So the first is this specialty album that is actually for Japanese stamps. I don't have... Well, Chapin, our dog, just really wanted to say hello to you. Oi! Oh, he's going to go nuts. I got this as an add-on to a lot I bought from my stamp shop. It really wasn't the purpose of why I bought it, and it's not Japanese. The cover is, but it's actually Danzig and other German stamps. that I've been trying to figure out what to do with. So I'm not going to use this book for this collection at this point, but I do have a specialty series Scott book for Japanese stamps. In the back, however, are these. And it's just a random Ryukyu Islands collection, which are very, very cool and very beautiful. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to take them out of here or what I'm going to do. So I'm going to set these aside and figure out what to do with them as I kind of go through. But they're definitely part of my Japanese collection. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to approach these. So there's that. There's also this special book. My dad brought this back from a trip to the Netherlands. And so I thought I would quick flip through and see if I can find any Japanese stamps. This is why I hold on to special albums like this. So when I set about putting together a collection, I can then go through and it feels special again. It feels like, you know, when I find some that fit, it's just another little thrill, even though it's been on my shelf for a while. So I'm going to do a quick little flip through, and, you know, there's some neat stamps in here. And I'm not sure if they had... There you go. A nice Japanese section. Oh, fantastic. So I will go ahead and take these out and add them to the collection I am working on. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. And, you know, I might not have some of these already, so they will find a home in the book. Ah, that's very cool. All right, so there's that one. Now, this guy also is part of this project. I bought a lot from an antique shop several years ago of mint never hinged 60s and 70s Japanese stamps. And I did this thinking that one day I would put together a collection. So these are in here right now. And as I'm working on this project, I will figure out how to approach these. If there's room in the final stock book, I might put them in there. I haven't really figured it out. But they are absolutely part of my collection, and I am considering what to do with them today. Oh, I love those so much. Aren't those just beautiful? Ah, very cool. So, my goal is to have all of my stamps in one place, so I do think I will move these into the final collection. And then finally, here is the bigger piece to this. This is my folder for Japanese stamps. This is my random. Over the years, whenever I've found things, I would put them in binders. Sometimes I put them in envelopes. Let's see if it has an envelope. It does. And it is going to be full, I bet, of wonder. I have no idea what's in here. How much fun is this? Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to combine all of this, with the exception of maybe this guy. I'm going to leave this guy in the Ryukyu Islands. Oh, but wait, there's one more. There's one more. Hold on. Okay, so this is another special one. A little while ago, I posted a video of a small album from the turn of the century. It was a French album. And I asked what to do with it because it was really special. It contained history to me. And I thought long and hard. I listened to all of your advice. And the truth of the matter is, the pages were acidic. The pages were damaging the stamps. It was beyond repair. And so I made the tough decision to save the stamps. And so I soaked them off. I have kept the binder, the cover of that album, and I actually have a cool idea to preserve that. But here are the stamps. And so maybe I'll find some Japanese stamps in here. I might actually go through this off camera just because I need to focus it a little bit. So. Well, I've got a fresh cup of coffee. Tonight's dinner is cooking in the crock pot, and I've got stamps to sort. What more does a guy need? All right, so here's what I have. I have an envelope full of God knows what. I'm really excited to find out what's in there. And also these glassines. And it looks like at some point I sorted these by modern and pre-war probably. So I'm going to set those aside for now. And then I'll probably go through those alongside the red album I showed you earlier. And then while I was doing my album search, I did some sorting already. So I'll start my piles. I think I'm just going to do all of these guys in one for now. Like so. There's some of the very cool mountain ranges. Now, I have these guys, which are from a couple of random sources. That one looks very old to me, so I will be learning more about that. Put that up there. And then this one was from one of the albums. Very cool. And then these guys are the ones that I know are a little earlier. So I'll start a pile for those. Very cool. And as you can tell, I am far from a specialist when it comes to Japanese stamps. So I am embarking upon this process to learn. It's like meditating and jigsaw puzzles wrapped into one. I just get into this flow. I get into this, I become lost and in my stamps. And it is such a relaxing and enjoyable experience. I absolutely love sorting stamps. So I have sorted all of my pre-1950 or so Japanese stamps into sets and into piles. And the next step in my process is I'm going to learn an awful lot more about these as I go through the Scott catalog book, one stamp at a time. And as I do so, I will begin to fill out my stock book. Well, the clock is striking midnight and my stagecoach is turning into a pumpkin. Duty calls, I have to go pick up kids, but what a wonderful time it was sorting stamps. I will show you my progress and tell you what comes next in my journey with Japanese stamps. So I have gone all the way through to the 1950s in my collection. And the first thing to notice is that my classics period is pretty bare. That's a nice stamp. It's in, it's got a pretty big tear, but that's a nice stamp, and so are they. So I put my older classics period stamps on the first page. And then the Empire, the Imperial stamps. And how much fun was it going through these? Ah, these cancels are just so gorgeous. And obviously the history during this time is fascinating. And then, of course, as you get into the later years, it's just as fascinating. And there is something so pleasing about seeing kind of chaos coming together into something pretty. I left spaces for the ones that I will hopefully find at some point. And all of you who know Japanese stamps will undoubtedly be seeing gaps that I will need to fill. This is a collection of somebody who hasn't focused on Japanese stamps, right? I mean, these are fairly common, mostly used, but it's a starter set. And most importantly for me, I learned a lot about Japanese stamps. And at some point, I will learn more about the history behind these stamps, too. And when I flip through this album, I will think about a calm day as it rained outside and clam chowder cooked in the slow cooker. What a wonderfully relaxing day. I have decided to leave the Ryukyu Islands in their collection because they look, or that collection is really well put together. And I also decided to leave this book as it was because I put this together. There was no reason for me to take these out. But if I do end up pursuing a Scott specialty album focused on Japanese stamps, and I put them in mounts, for example, or whatever I do, I will use these. I think some of these are just so beautiful. Just to give you a quick look. And there you go. I made it to 1950. I still have these that at some point I will put into my stock book to complete this effort. And then this is how I will store them up until the point that I decide to actually make a collection out of it and advance into buying Mint Never Hinged or new, and some of the new or the older ones too. So once again, thank you for joining me on a stamp-related video. If you liked it, please do like it and subscribe to the channel. It means a great deal to me. Until next time.